markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
You're listening to The Morning Show on the Big 1520 across Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. It is the WHOW Morning Show, streaming live on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, WHOW TV. And it's all brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Joining me on this segment of the program, we've got Callie McFarland on the phone. She's the Director of Community Development for the City of Monticello. And a good day to you, Callie. How are you this morning?
I'm great. I haven't talked to you in 3 months, so
I know it.
Having me back.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you coming back and joining us. And a lot happening in Monticello, Callie, since you and I caught up. And let's start with a rebranding effort that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is ongoing. Callie, tell us, give us the 10,000-foot overview of this, and we'll dive into the specifics from there.
Sure. So the city, last time we really went through a kind of an organized rebranding effort was in 2003, 2004. And it was an effort to kind of get every organization back on the same page and at the same table. It's very important for the community and its organizations. Even though we identify that we're separate organizations, we are still heading in the same direction, and a rebranding is an opportunity for a community or any organization really to kind of illustrate that this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we mean. Logo is so far down the road, and when it comes to rebranding, it's more about the messaging and the cornerstones and the promise behind it. And there's a whole bunch of science that involves getting to that point. And then you create your logo from that. Since the 2004 last rebranding effort, the city, I think we counted like 19 different logos and just between 4 organizations, none of which were related at all. That's just kind of what we've evolved to in the last 18 years. So it was time. We really wanted something that was a little more fresh and contemporary. And something that, we got input from community stakeholders on. So we had a number of meetings just from the city side to figure out what those cornerstones were that the city was, or that these individuals were feeling is an important part of Monticello that should be recognized. From that, the city kind of finished their rebranding initiative, and then Main Street Chamber and Tourism are taking it kind of and parlaying off of that onto their own, and they're in the middle of the process right now. So we're very excited to see, you're going to see some fresh new colors, some fresh new images. But again, the logo is so far down the road. But we're very pleased with the product.
Well, and I'll tell you what, we talked about this a little bit before we got started, and I mentioned that we should talk through it on the air and dive in deeper, obviously. But so one thing that I'm curious about is messaging, Callie, and for I think rebrand, maybe strategic planning is a little bit a part of this, perhaps not, I don't know. But I think of processes like that where you're thinking about your mission as maybe a community, as an organization, whatever the case may be. How about that aspect of it? Is this a shift in the mission statement of the community, or is that not part of this umbrella of things that you're working on?
Yeah, it is kind of a shift in the mission statement. I mean, you drive through any small town or any town really, everybody boasts they're the greatest place to live, work, and play. Well, of course, we all want to be that. If we don't, then what are we doing here?
Right.
So how can we figure out how to differentiate ourselves from that? So it needs to mean something to the community, but it also needs to mean something to those that we're trying to attract, whether it's visitors or future businesses or future residents. So this is something that we did a lot of got a lot of input on, and some of the kind of cornerstones that came up that were just over and over and over exemplified is the community is very proud of its square. Right? We have a square, it's intact. We spend a lot of attention and time and resources and energy and money on our square, and a lot of communities don't have that anymore. So that was something that just kept coming up over and over. People are also very proud of our managed growth in Monticello and how we're not sprawling out, but we are still growing. we're very self-sufficient. There's a lot you can do here almost everything you can do here where you don't have to leave the community. So there's just a number of things that we have identified with, the community has identified with, as being very proud of, that Monticello can boast about. And so one of the promises that they came up with, the brand promise, is actually close to everything, far from every day, because we are just a skip down the road if we need to go somewhere else. But we have everything here if you don't need to. So we're pretty proud about that.
Going back even farther than that, Callie, was there engagement with the community? What did that process look like?
Yeah, so we actually had 3 different stakeholder groups that we met with, or the consultants met with, excuse me. One was more residents of a whole variety of demographics, from business owner to clergymen to, young, old, grew up here, transplanted, whatever. We had a stakeholder group of community leaders. So the Main Street Chamber board members, the city council was invited, city staff members, and then we had another one of just the community. I just said that, but the community business leaders as well. So we had 3 different groups. And again, from that, Main Street Chamber and Tourism are also doing kind of a similar process, but building upon ours. So theirs isn't going to look, their promise, their cornerstones, there'll be some similarities, just so that we know it's tied into, but they're going to have their own.
Now, when it comes to messaging, Callie, once you've narrowed down what your message is going to be, what the story is of Monticello you're going to convey, how do you tell that story? Where do you tell that story? Where does it appear at? How about some of those things?
Yeah, so you'll see whether it's the colors or the logo or even some of the verbiage that I've used earlier, you're going to see that splashed on everything. And I mentioned the continuity of having it throughout all the organizations. That's something that, you're just going to notice throughout all of these organizations, that we're continuing this theme and this brand. One of the things that I liked about the logo is that, it splashes different colors that are kind of a nod to the different industries in town. So we're very proud of our school, obviously, but we're not the school. So we're not going to be gold and purple. But there's a hue of gold and there's a hue of purple in that logo. The actual physical design of our logo is the square, and it's just slightly off kilter from north, south, east, west. And so that's something that's very unique to Monticello. And the more I see it, the more I appreciate it, because anyone can have an M if they're a community that starts with an M. We can all name quite a few around here. Anyone can have, our current logo has a swoosh in it. That's a nod to the river. So we're kind of subtly acknowledging that we have, this is our square. This is our unique Monticello square. But unless you're from Monticello, you're not going to know that. So it's kind of a neat little thing they did.
Yeah, so incorporating several aspects of the community into this then.
Absolutely. I mean, there's greens and yellows for agriculture. There's blues and greens for industry. There's just different. It's just a very fresh and contemporary logo we're very proud of.
Sure, very good. So look forward to that. And will this, messaging, will it show up on, say, billboards, as folks come into town? Will it be a part of, web design, social media? How about some of those things?
Absolutely, yeah. So you'll be seeing it on our websites. It'll take some time to get things kind of rewrapped for trucks and water towers repainted. So it's not going to happen overnight, but it's something we're gradually going to be implementing. One thing we're very excited about, though, for the parklets in downtown this summer, is you're going to see some pretty exciting things happening in downtown, and not just from the branding side, but we have some new components to add to the parklets, and it's just going to brighten up the area. I mean, we already loved it, but we just keep coming up with more and more ideas of how we can make it a better destination. And so you'll see some hints of the branding up there this summer.
Sure. Again, our guest on the phone is Callie McFarland, Director of Community Development for the City of Monticello. The morning show, by the way, streaming live on Facebook Live and at our YouTube channel, WHOW TV, and it's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. And Callie, in terms of the like the groundwork that has to be laid from, you talked about bringing together stakeholders and coming up with a logo and messaging and all those things, that aspect of the process before we even get to, making it something visible for the community to see through, billboards and messaging on social media and websites and things of that nature. The just that early work process, where do you stand with that? Like, is this done and it's ready to move on to, the next phase of things? How about that?
Yeah, so the city part is done. We presented the logo to the council. This is what the community had input on, and the stakeholders, anyway, that took the opportunity to provide input, they had that this is what the final product was based off of. And then, so we presented it to the council, got some good feedback from the council. And then once Chamber of Main Street and Tourism finished their process, then we'll kind of do a whole launch of, all right, now we're moving forward. So we're just kind of the city's in a holding pattern right now until Chamber finishes theirs. But I'm thinking early spring maybe is when you'll start to see some new things happening.
Cool. That's awesome. Now, we'll, I hate to, go this route, but just out of curiosity, funding, budgeting for this and future costs, what's the story there?
The future costs, I mean, it's something that just as it's not an astronomical amount of money. We obviously had to pay the consultant, which wasn't a big deal. It was nice to use a Monticello resident to do this. And Clan Marketing is a firm that we've used many times. And then just as maintenance comes up for, like I said, rewrapping trucks, or we run out of business cards and need to reprint them on that, all the website stuff is done in-house, so that's not a big deal. So, it's just going to be a gradual as needed type transgression, I guess.
Okay, yes, I guess I didn't realize it was so I don't know, not cost list, but cost effective, I guess, is a better way to put it. So at any rate, that's very good to hear. And, Callie, I'm just kind of, as we're talking this morning, this kind of came up, and I should have asked it sooner, but you mentioned there was a lot of, it felt like everybody in the community had their own logo and their own thing going on. Why streamline that? Because every entity is different, and they have their own purpose and things of that nature. What did this stem from, I guess, going all the way back to those things?
It's exactly what you just said. Every entity, it has its own purpose, yes, and they are different, yes, but we're not siloed. I work very closely with Chamber of Main Street Tourism. The school district is a part of the city of Monticello, so we'd love to have them on board for certain things. There's just while we are separate, we do intermingle and work together a lot, and so this just provides some continuity. This provides some uniformity. When it comes to our messaging that we're portraying for the city. It's also, from a consumer side, very confusing to, okay, well, I see you have this logo. That's because people, they're going to associate visually. So I see this is with you and this is with you. But they need to know that we are still related. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep. Totally. Okay. Totally. I was just curious, the kind of the roots of all of it. But at any rate, Callie, did I miss anything in this conversation? I thought it was a really good conversation. Did I miss anything, though, you want to put out there?
No, I don't think so. It's been a fun process, and we look forward to seeing where it goes from here.
Very good. Well, let's take a break, Callie. Come back with some more. We've got a lot more to dive into with Callie McFarland, Director of Community Development for the City of Monticello, on the WHOW Morning Show, which again streams live on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, WHOW TV, and it's all brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and wheat all starting the day lower. March corn 632, down 3 1/4. May corn down 3 1/2, 633 3/4. December corn 579 1/4, down 1 3/4. March beans starting the day 1569, down 12 3/4. May beans down 13 1/2, 1572 3/4. November beans 1408 1/4. Down 7 3/4. March wheat 762 1/2, down 6 1/4. May wheat down 6 3/4, 769 1/4. July wheat 764, that's down to 6 1/2. March bean meal starting the day $453.90, up $1.10. March bean oil down $1.59, 63.75. That's a look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
New trucks and SUVs are coming here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. This is Scott Baum. Yes, we have new inventory arriving, and you can see what will arrive right on our website. Just click on the pre-order and reserve tab. From there, you will find vehicles in transit and vehicles in production. Or just call our sales staff and we'll help. Find Silverados, Equinoxes, Blazers, including Tahoes and Suburbans, as well as our complete Buick line of SUVs. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
MR Systems Wireless has an immediate opening. They're looking for a full-time internet installer to perform the initial setup of wireless internet and voice over IP services, as well as troubleshoot and repair wireless and phone services for customers. You'll be responsible for the basic installation and maintenance of wireless equipment. No experience necessary. Includes health benefits, mileage reimbursed. Starting pay is $15 an hour. Find out more and apply by going to mrsystemswireless.com, then clicking About, then Employment. Equal opportunity employer.
This is The Morning Show on 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and my guest on the phone, Callie McFarland, Director of Community Development for the City of Monticello. And again, we are streaming live on Facebook Live today and at our YouTube channel, WHOW TV, and it's all brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. And Callie, as we catch up for this morning, I saw that the city released some preliminary drawings of what could potentially be filling the space of Oberheim Park in Monticello. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. The design that the city initially had for that park was pretty old and obviously needs change. And having now a local hero to kind of a name associated with the park, that just kind of created a little momentum for what the city wanted to accomplish. So the city was able to kind of get a very surface level rendering of what the park could look like and updated that design. And which, if you go to Oberheim Park on Facebook, you can kind of see some of the exciting details associated with that. It's just gorgeous. But I will say one of the additions for the new design has a sledding hill, which will be great when you're living in the flatlands, right? But so that was something that was launched. The marketing firm that the city hired to work with the foundation, and they're doing a lot behind the scenes. And so I think we'll be seeing something in the near future from them in terms of what their strategy is.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And of course, this stems from, ongoing efforts to address kind of a shortage of facilities and recreation spaces in the city, correct?
Absolutely. A lot of people don't realize that the city only has a t-ball field and a peanut league field. Everything else we have in partnership to the school district, which we lost a couple fields from that when the school expanded, or Pike County Forest Preserve. And with those partnerships, working with them, we fall in line just like every other private league or travel team out there. So it's really challenging for us to try and expand a program when we don't have our own facilities, and the competition to use those facilities is so great. So this is definitely going to fulfill a need. Again, the primary goal is to provide services to us as a community for recreation. Anything that comes from that, travel teams and tournaments and so forth, that's just icing on the cake.
Sure. Very good. So anything else on that, Callie, before we move along today?
No, we're just excited to see what happens.
Sure. I know you've got a big Valentine's event coming up on Friday. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so this is our annual chocolate fantasy event, which I'm thinking is on its 20th year or something at this point. We do the wine and wine shop walks twice a year, but this is chocolate related. So it's a great family event where people can go. They buy tickets in advance through Monticello Main Street, and they can go through all the participating shops and restaurants and get a chocolate treat. Most of them are packaged to go because, let's face it, 20 or so different chocolate treats in a 3-hour span will probably make you sick. But it's a great opportunity to get out, see some of the shops, It's a great date night, girls' night, whatever. And I saw the forecast shows it's not going to be sub-zero, which is always exciting.
It should be a
Because we've done it in ice storms before. So.
Yeah, it should be a nice seasonable night, I think, for this.
Yeah.
So, what else is on the calendar, Callie, as we look ahead here? Anything coming up in February, March that you want to put on the radar?
You know, Allerton is always good at having opportunities for people to get out and get some fresh air. They have a couple of like Valentine Glow, which their holiday glow. Now they have one related to Valentine's Day. They'll have one for St. Patrick's Day as well. And then they have some kind of unique events thrown in there. They have an owl hike coming up. They have a Boots and Brews hike coming up. So if people just go to Allerton's website, they can learn how to get some fresh air and have some fun at the same time. And then we are bringing back our antique crawl for Piatt County, where people can kind of go through all the antique stores in Piatt County, which is in between the Farmer City and Arthur antique shows, literally geographically on that same day. So again, if you need an opportunity or an excuse to get out in this time of year when it's kind of dreary, this is a fun opportunity to come and see some of the new shops. Monticello has a couple new antique stores that have opened up since we did this 3 years ago last, and we're just excited to promote it.
Sure. Very good. Well, and Callie, as we talked this morning, of course, I know that Business Boot Camp is right around the corner. Still time for potential entrepreneurs to be a part of this, and been a very successful program in the city of Monticello. Tell us about Business Boot Camp.
Yeah, this will be our 12th round of our small business training. Again, it's open to anyone who wants to open a business or has a business, no matter where that business is, no matter where they live. It's free to anyone. Just go to MonticelloBootCamp.com and sign up. You have until Friday to do so. And it's just 5 nights a week, 5 weeks, 1 night a week. There we go. On Tuesday evening from 6 to 9. And the biggest benefit to this program is the networking that happens. You might meet someone that can help you with supply chain issues. You might meet someone you can collaborate with on a business event, or someone that is great to work with, or can commiserate with you on what issues and challenges you're going through. But that's probably the biggest benefit of the program, is just the relationships that come out of it.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. A lot of networking, a lot of good information to be received as well. And hopefully this one brings forward a potential business in downtown Monticello. Callie, unfortunately, out of time for this morning. How do folks learn more about all things Monticello, Illinois?
They can go to MonticelloIllinois.net or follow us on social media.
That is Callie McFarland. She is the Director of Community Development for the city of Monticello, our guest on the phone here for this morning. Appreciate her time as always. Again, the WHOW Morning Show streams live on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, YouTube TV, and it's all brought to you by Peterson Insurance in Clinton, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. And as always, you can catch the morning show on our many digital platforms, including the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa. We're streamed live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com, and of course the classic radio dial. And with that, network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.